Kevin here. I might be late to the game with this, but I want to talk about the Walmart Corporation selling Antifa gear. You see, earlier this year we saw the NFL protests and the cost that had on the NFL. Well, besides the NFL protests, I can't think of a better example of a company not understanding their base than Walmart and this Antifa fiasco. You see, Walmart, like the NFL, was built by the patronage of middle America, middle class, hardworking, salt-of-the-earth people. Not some loser, basement-dwelling, breastfed to the age of 30 bum from Antifa. But time and time again, we see these big corporations pushing left-wing agendas and supporting these anarchist bums over the people who built them, over the people who really matter in America. And it's so frustrating. And you might wonder why all these corporations seem to hate people on the right, hate their base, hate their customers. Well, it's sort of twofold. The first thing's really simple. See, I heard a guy on the radio who's a high-level marketing person from a corporation. One time he was talking and he was saying that, yes, we know the people out there have more money, the middle Americans, middle-class people, people like myself, people like my parents who have disposable income. They know we're out here and that we're buying stuff from them and we're aware of their products. But they said we don't matter. That's what he said. He said middle America doesn't matter. Middle class people don't matter. We're after the youth. We're after the urban youth. And the reason he said that is because they think that people like us will buy no matter what because of convenience. There's a Walmart next to our house, you know, and we have a bunch of kids. So we're going to go there and get groceries and it's already there. It's convenient. But they want to get their hooks into these other people. The people who aren't buying their gear. The people who aren't buying their stuff. But we're starting to see people push back. We see it with the NFL. You see, the NFL thought, well, screw machoism. Screw, American middle-class people who, want to live and let live and, not have political stuff bombarded on them all the time. They said, screw that. We're just going to let the players make a mockery of the United States, make a mockery of Trump, try to, direct the flow of everything out of our games. We're going to let them do that. So that's what happened. And the people rejected it. And they should have. We should have been fighting against these corporations for the longest time. You see, traditionally, the right was all for capitalism. And I am. I'm completely for capitalism. But these big corporations have become tyrannical. And not on the level the left claims they are. Because the left are their foot soldiers. These big corporations at the very top, I'm not talking about the owners because Walmart is owned by a conservative family. I'm talking about the directors, the board of directors on all these corporations across the world. All these big corporations, their board of directors is like a who's who list of globalists and left-wing activists. If you look at any major corporation, they have the same usual suspects on their board of directors. One, attorneys from the federal government or from like the ACLU. Those people are always on there to help them fight litigation and help them keep, diversity compliance. Those people are always there. Then you have college professors. They always have somebody from academia, maybe 2 or 3 people from academia. And we know the colleges have been subverted by leftists. So these people get influence over these big corporations. 3, you have tech sector people. All these big corporations have executives, have board of director officials from the board, or board members, I should say, who were from the tech companies and the major social media platforms. In fact, Walmart has a guy who is the president of Instagram on their board of directors. So there you go. These are all people who we see time and time again pushing a left-wing agenda. This is why you see every big company supporting the left and bashing Trump. Because these companies, despite most of their employees maybe supporting Trump or being on the right, we know that most of the hardworking middle Americans are. Despite that, at the very top, these people have an agenda. And that agenda, and that comes to my second reason, that agenda is Fabian socialism. You see, those Antifa idiots at the bottom, they might think that they're anti-corporate, but really, they are pushing the agenda. They are the shock troops to go out and parrot the agenda Parrot the talking points. They're the shock troops for the corporate elite, for the Fabian socialists. And Fabian socialism is an ideology that basically says we're going to have socialism for everybody at the bottom, right? And the billionaire elites love this because, see, not only does the government dole out money to these people at the bottom that gets sucked right back up by these big corporations, and they get way more money from the government than they do the general public anyway, because they get these tax exemptions, they get tax credits, and they get all kinds of corporate welfare. So they love socialism. They love big government. But on top of that, they want socialism for everybody else because they want you government dependent. They want you controlled. They don't want a population that has choices, people who might divest from their big corporations. So, you know, Mussolini once said that fascism was the final step for socialism, or the ultimate conclusion to socialism, is I think how he worded it. And he was right. He said it wasn't communism, it was fascism. Because once you grow the state to that level, and once you have the people completely enthralled in the welfare state and this quasi-corporate public relationship with the government, then they become complete slaves and you end up with true fascism. Not this fascism the left talks about where they're calling nationalism fascism, but true fascism, like Mussolini pictured it would be. So, you know, this is why you see these corporations time and time again pushing left-wing agendas. They want this control grid. They want this kind of, you know, corporocracy. Well, how do we fight back? Well, this is where it gets sort of complicated because we can't do anything about the board of directors unless you have, you know, a major stake in these corporations. And even rich people who are, you know, upper middle class rich, people like some members of my family who own shares of these corporations, they're not rich enough to even make a dent as a majority shareholder. See, they'd have to buy billions of dollars of shares to have any say-so in these big corporations. So, you know, it comes down to the same usual suspects. People like Tom Steyer, people like George Soros, these multi-billionaires who can control all of society because they can make one call and say, hey, I want Starbucks to have cups that are painted red like communism without any kind of snowmen or anything on them for Christmas. Let's do that. So, you know, they can set an agenda just because they own so much of all these big corporations. But we can do some backyard activism. We can call people, and you could call Greg Smith. He is the supply chain executive for Walmart. His number is 479-273-4000. You can call Mark Ibitston. He's the chief of U.S. operations for Walmart. And his number is 1-479-273-6463. You have to ask for him. These are the numbers to their offices, but they will have secretaries or somebody who's handling the phones in the building. So you have to ask for these people. But you call these people who are in operations. You know, you call the people who are making the decisions for product purchases. That's how you really get at these corporations when they do these things. You also can write the corporation's president and CEO. They're not going to put you on the phone with these people. But if you want to get it to the higher-ups, you can write them. And the address for Walmart is 702 Southwest 8th Street, Bentonville, Arkansas. And that is their corporate office. That's their national or international headquarters. So that's how you reach out to these people. And we can also launch Facebook campaigns to really, you know, raise awareness, or do YouTube videos like this. But the one last thing I will say is when they do stuff like this, that's just an affront to everything their customers stand for, we have to fight back, and we cannot let this thing die out. We have a habit on the right of, you know, getting all upset about something and then the next day forgetting about it. Guys, we have to keep on these things. See, I always remind myself to go out and call somebody about something that I saw 3 months ago. I always write a reminder. That way I stay on top of these things and keep the people aware that we know what they're doing and we're not going to stand for it. Anyway, have a good one.